Hi, I'm Maxwell Bogue from Wobbleworks. I'm one of the co-founders. We're the creators of the 3Doodler. And today I'm just kind of take you guys through how we successfully crowdfunded something in order to turn it into a product that's now available in the mass market in general, or the market in general. Obviously, we're hoping that some of you might take lessons from this and figure out how to do it for yourselves. You know, every project's always different, but so the 3Doodler itself, just to give you guys an idea of what we created, is a handheld 3D pen. And what that means is essentially we took the extruder off of a 3D printer and turned it into a pen, which allows you to actually draw in the air. So plastic goes in the back, just like a regular 3D printer, and then it comes out the front. And the beauty is that it actually forms and takes shape almost instantly, which allows you to draw in 3D. If you actually want to see it in detail after this event, towards the end, I have several 3Doodlers that people can play with if they want. So, but using it, you can make really fun things. So this was made using a 3Doodler. You can also repair things. Like I always love showing my glasses here got broken. I used the 3Doodler to fix it. Anything that you print with a 3D printer, you can fix using a 3Doodler. So we made a video and we put it on Kickstarter, and we got a lot of response. Unfortunately, this is I think just a PDF. So this video right here has a point where we lift the pen off the paper and you can actually see us create a cube in the air. So that brings us just in general to 3D printing and where the heck is it going. From here in general, everyone knows that 3D printers are going to continue to become cheaper and cheaper and easier to use on some level. However, at the end of the day, the largest problem with 3D printers right now is software. The fact that it's difficult to design a three-dimensional part in software and then create it using your 3D printer. And the ability to do a simplistic version of that would make the 3D printer more available to people in general. I do see a future where 3D printers maybe 20 years from now are almost like kiosks in malls. You go up, plug in what you want, it prints out maybe 20, 30 plates for you. You take the old plates back, maybe it recycles them up, and then you get that to use to make the new plates. Who knows? It's fun. But right now it's pretty much secured to the realm of development and for the purposes of manufacturing and making kind of cool things in plastic. So the 3Doodler itself came out of our 3D printer, as I said. Peter Dilworth, one of the co-founders, was staring at our 3D printer, which we use on a daily basis to create parts to make robots for the toy industry. And he realized that when it made a mistake, that he could just take the head off and turn it into a little plastic welder. And then from there, we realized that you could actually lift it up in the air. It worked really badly, but it worked. So we went on and developed it. And we went through a number of iterations and prototypes, and we spent about a year developing the product itself. We then spent 3 months working on our Kickstarter campaign. And in that time, going to media and figuring out how the video should look and all that kind of stuff, and preparing as much as possible, which I'll get to in a minute. But when we launched, we successfully raised $2.3 million on Kickstarter, which essentially funded us. So we didn't need to go to a VC or to seek any additional funding, which is a very fun and rare position to be in. So crowdfunding do's and don'ts in general. Here's what we learned. Being prepared is by far the #1 failure of Kickstarter campaigns or Indiegogo campaigns or any of these types of campaigns. I think a lot of people think you make a video and you just kind of throw it up on the web and it'll work out fine. That's not true. We specifically went out and prepared through figuring out the process under which we can manufacture this item and getting realistic quotations on the costs. Now, generally, you get a concept, develop a prototype, you then do costing exercises where you kind of blindly like, And then you actually take it to a manufacturer who gives you a realistic cost, and you realize how off you were. And then what you do is you're ready for things such as tooling, which is when you're making the shells and things like that. And then you do an engineering prototype and a production prototype, and then you're ready to finally produce. Now in that time, you have to figure out when you actually want to seek funding, if you want to seek funding, how much it's going to cost to do all this. And you really need to know as much of that beforehand as possible. I personally have spent 4 or 5 years in Asia developing products, doing manufacturing, so I had a very good idea of how to do this. I made products in the past like Rovio, which is a wireless IP camera, that varying degrees of technology. And the ability to go back to Asia with this information really helped us to develop this product more efficiently than most people did. There are organizations out there, such as like Dragon Innovation, PCH Express, who will help you, if you have a physical product and a prototype, take it to the next level, get it costed with a factory, figure out what the development schedule is going to look like. Once you've done those steps, then you're ready to kickstart. Before doing those steps, you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot, because you will find out relatively quickly that what you thought costs were are not what costs are. That's kind of off, but just in general, a quick thing about our Kickstarter page and the rules of thumb. The video is by far the most important thing on the internet for crowdsourced funding. The world watches these videos for fun, and generally you can't get someone to watch one of these for more than 20 seconds. So if you have some 5-minute long presentation, no one's going to watch it. You have 20 seconds to get them to watch another 20 to 30 seconds. So you want the majority of your message in that first 20 seconds. In ours, it was this lift-up moment where the pen drew in the air. And we got literally comments on our YouTube page saying, "Shut up and take my money," which was a meme we were not aware of beforehand. As well as "Wizard" and "Where the hell do I buy this?" which are great comments to get. So, you know, short and sweet is really where it's at with videos. I would say no more than, you know, a 2-minute video. And mind you, these are lessons that we learned last year, and Kickstarter was a very different entity last year as all crowdfunding platforms keep changing. But one of our big things is we wrote in on the fact that 3D printing was very popular. We positioned ourselves as a 3D printing device, which helped to get a lot of attention from the tech community and the tech press. We also, a lot of images, we paid a lot of attention to pledge levels, how much people are willing to pay for something. You know, $99 sounds silly, but it actually works. It has a psychological effect. People like that number. People like $49.99. They like $19.99. It makes them believe, for some reason, that it's just slightly less and therefore has greater value. I don't know why. But you really want to treat these things like you're selling a product. And to do that, you need to market yourself properly, and you need to be there and working on it and really tweaking all the way through. The most important thing by far is getting attention. Don't leave it to the last minute. Do your homework. When I say do your homework, you really want to seek out press that's interested in this subject. Not like going to the Huffington Post and saying, "Hey, you guys would love this." No, you need to find a reporter from the Huffington Post, for example, who's writing about the material that you're doing, and then contact them directly and saying, "Hey, I have this thing, I'd like to present it to you," and then go from there. We put a lot of press under something called embargo, where they're not supposed to talk about it for a set date, a time period. And in that time, we gave them multiple press releases, we gave them videos, and the most effective thing that we did was with our press kit. We had a PR firm that we had kind of light. They were just advising us. They weren't doing overly too much for us, but they suggested that we steal the Twitter photos of our favorite writers and bloggers, and then 3Doodle those photos, and then 3Doodle their logos, put it all on video, put it all on the web, and then mail all of those pictures and logos to those press. And we picked 15 press to do with this, and we assumed maybe 5 people would actually pick us up. 14 press picked us up that day within 3 hours of each other. which got us the front page of Reddit, which then made this a lot easier. The other kind of interesting thing that we did what we call e-bombing, where we opened up Google Analytics. We had a press list of thousands of press from different countries. We then selectively targeted each country and sent out these little one-page flyers, if you will, in their email, and then watched to see the reaction and how many people actually logged on and see the change in our analytics as to who was looking at us and what was effective. Then go back, tweak the flyer, and then send it out to another country, and then note what works, what doesn't work. We actually set it up so that we launched our Kickstarter in the middle of the night on the East Coast time, so we would wake up with London, and then we got to ride all of the rest of the world before coming back to the United States, which allowed us to have a lot more oomph right when we launched in the US. People woke up and it had already become a story because we had been funded so quickly. Yeah, some more fun things. Stretch goals, this is to do with timing, are something that a lot of crowdfunding sites tend to do. People are like, oh, we hit our goal, let's just add something else on there. You really don't have to do these. I highly recommend not doing these. If you didn't budget it to do it originally, don't do it just because. It really needs to be planned out just as much as the rest of your product. Always under promise, over deliver. We delivered our product on time because we overestimated the time production, we overestimated shipping times, and because of that, we were right on time. You never know what the hell's gonna happen. Be responsive, obviously customer service and all that kind of stuff on these crowdfundings is intense. You're gonna get thousands of emails if you do something like this, and you really need to be responsive. We made one of the largest FAQs on Kickstarter history just to try and answer as much as possible with as little effort as possible, and still being effective. And finally, don't panic, because you will get so inundated with so many people that it does become a bit of a panic, and you just have to take a deep breath. Life post Kickstarter for us was really about logistics, figuring it out, as well as distributors, getting it into stores, trying to acquire proper distributors that met with our idea of how it should be sold. And to do that, we met with at least 20 to 25 distributors from each region that we were looking to distribute into, and then narrowed it down to a few other distributors. And our big thing was to prevent distributors, multiple distributors in a single channel or single country from competing in a single channel, excuse me. So we had technology, we have education and arts or crafts and hobby. So oftentimes we have multiple buyers, but they don't interact with each other, thus competition between each other on a single product. So it helps out a lot, and they really like it. So building a team, we built a team exceedingly quickly because we were exceedingly successful, so we chose to build a team with people that we knew. We existed in a nebulous state for a good 8 months, where I was in New York, someone's in Boston, someone's in Montreal, someone's in London, someone's in Hong Kong. You get the idea. And the reason we did that is because we knew these people, we knew we could work with those people, we knew their capabilities, and we just slowly migrated everyone to one location over the course of a year. We found that to be a much more effective way of doing it. We were able to weed out people early on who didn't work well under those circumstances and therefore wouldn't work well with the team. And as a result, we formed a much stronger team by doing this crazy distributed version. It's not totally recommendable, but it has some benefits. I kind of did distribution, just lots of countries. Point of purchase displays. I mean, just in general, I've had a lot of experience with buyers, people that purchase for large things like Walmart or Target. And in my experience, I can tell you that you have to wow or get them excited and kind of get them on your side in order to get them to promote your product. And you always need an advocate from within. If you don't have that, you're going to have a lot of difficulties helping to push your product through those channels, through those people. So it's really important to build those relationships and to make sure you can trust your distributors. All right, questions and answers? Any questions?
Hi, my name is Janine. I work at Octopark, and I was curious to understand what the biggest delta was in underestimating the cost before you send it out to production.
It's not labor, it's more like the components as to what you think components should cost. For example, a power pack or transistors even. When you do them on big enough scales, obviously they decrease in cost, but you have to hit those scales before those decreases enter. So originally when we estimated costs, we were fortunate enough to find a facility or factory that was willing to do a low quantity of 1,000 to 2,000 units, which is very rare. But once we did the Kickstarter, we had to up those quantities significantly, and they ended up not giving us the pricing that we wanted. So we ended up actually sourcing about 75% of the pen ourselves. We just went out, found nozzles and ears and whatnot, and had them made to help cut those costs. Because factories tend to go out to their favorite suppliers, and then they get the price back. They don't necessarily argue specifically difficultly for you. And so as a result, you could increase the profit margin if you were just to push them a bit harder. So, does that help?
Any other questions? Well, thank you very much. And
Thank you.